Now we're going to be picking who we have in the Final Four, the best part of March Madness, the 4 best teams in the, college basketball tournament. Brad, who do you have in the Final Four?
Final Four. Okay, so I have Villanova playing Duke. I have Villanova beating Duke. Then down in the West,
Such a shame.
in the West, I have Gonzaga beating out FSU. And then, let's see, Midwest, a little switch up. Instead of Kansas winning it, I have Louisville beating Kansas. So instead of number 1 seed beating the number 2, I have number 2 beating number 1. Then down south, no surprise, I picked North Carolina to beat out Kentucky.
Okay, I think a lot of people would have that, and I don't think those are really good picks, honestly. So, you're welcome. Yeah, something that is nice. Yeah. All right, Cody, who do you have in your Final Four?
All right, so my Final Four, I've got Nova against Duke, and I got Nova going on, regardless of what you say. I've got Gonzaga and Arizona, but this one was actually really tough because even though my heart was going towards Gonzaga, I went with my head, and I thought Arizona because I just think that they'll pull it out. I think they're going to surprise a lot of people and make it to the Final Four. I've got in the Midwest, we've got Kansas and Louisville, and I think Rick Pitino's just going to get his team back in the Final Four. I mean, it's Rick Pitino, and he knows how to get the best out of his players. And I've got UNC going against UCLA. I've got UNC moving on, beating the Ball and the Crew. So I got Tar Heels in the Final Four.
All right, my Final Four. I think you guys are going to be surprised about this. Villanova and Duke. I have Duke winning.
What?
Yeah.
Here we go again. Okay, and literally on this point, this is where when you actually really match up the coaches, Jay Wright versus Coach K. Coach K is a lot better in my opinion. I know some people might say Coach Wright, and he's the up-and-coming guy. I just think Coach K is a lot better. He's gotten his team to finally come together. I like that Jason Tatum kid. I think he's the most NBA ready out of all of them, and he's not talked about enough.
Yeah.
I like Kennard whenever they need him.
Kennard.
Yeah.
He can, when he starts shooting those threes, like that one when they were playing, what was that game we were watching?
North Carolina.
North Carolina, and he was just nailing them left and right.
Yeah, when he gets hot, he can't miss.
Yeah, and you know what? That Allen kid isn't too bad when he stops tripping.
Yeah, and all joking aside, Grayson Allen, he's a very good 3 shooter. He's just, he lets his emotions get to him. If Coach K can kind of hone that and say, hey, listen, I need you to play. Grayson Allen's actually not a bad basketball player.
No, he can be good.
But can he control those emotions?
That's exactly.
We'll see. Yeah,
that's exactly. And a lot of teams are going to come after you. But I do have Duke in it. I have Gonzaga versus Arizona. This one is actually one of the toughest ones I was thinking about. I just really like Gonzaga's team better. Coach Few versus the Arizona head coach. I like Coach Few, and so that's the reason. I think he's a very smart coach. I know a lot of people are having Arizona because they are a very talented team. I just think Gonzaga is going to beat them. Not by much. Definitely not by much.
It'll be a close one.
And then Kansas versus Louisville. I got Louisville. I like Coach Self, but with that late loss that they had in the tournament that Kansas had, I got to go with Louisville. I think Louisville, even though that they lost to Duke, like we were talking about, is one of the hotter teams. But you can never count out a Rick Pitino team. I can't. You can always count out a Bill Self team because when it comes to this portion of the tournament and the Elite Eight, Bill Self usually his teams just for some reason don't end up doing well.
Right.
And then North Carolina versus Kentucky. I really wanted to pick Kentucky. I think they haven't done really well, and I have North Carolina. I think they're one of the best, like we talked about earlier. Yeah. They're one of the best rebounding teams. I have North Carolina in the Final Four. All right, Cody, why don't you kick it off? Who do you have going into the championship?
Ooh, okay, so this is a tough one to pick, especially for the East versus the West, or is it East versus West? I've got Nova beating Arizona.
Okay.
I've got Nova going back for an opportunity to repeat, and I've got Louisville against North Carolina. And I've got a rematch from last year with North Carolina going in.
Okay. Excellent. I like the pick. All right, so you have Villanova, North Carolina in the championship. Who do you have winning?
Breaks my heart though, because I am somewhat of a North Carolina fan. It's going to be Nova. Nova, I think, is just too good. We talk about teams getting hot at the right time. They're always playing well. Young coach, but they've got young players that are executing really well. And I think that they're hungry to repeat, to be the first team to repeat, I think, in about 10 years. So,
All right.
that's what I got.
Brad, who do you have going in, and who do you have ending up on top as the best college team?
I have Villanova going against Gonzaga. Villanova winning. Then I have Louisville and UNC. And then Villanova. Yeah, I have North Carolina beating Villanova and being the overall winner.
So you have North Carolina winning it all.
Winning it all.
All right. I'm going to start with Louisville and North Carolina. I have North Carolina winning, and I just like the team. They have like 5 big guys that they can just rotate in, which is tough to beat.
Yeah.
They rebound, like I've said, really well. Their defense, they can block the inside shot. So they're very good at that. I have North Carolina beating Louisville. I just think they're a more talented team than Louisville. Both coaches, Roy Williams and Rick Pitino, great coaches. So honestly, it's going to end up being with what the players do. I think North Carolina has better players.
Okay.
All right, Duke and Gonzaga. And you know what? I wasn't going to do this, but I'm going to now.
You are. I saw it.
I hope that it does happen. Like that'd be one of the greater championships.
Yeah.
2 the big rival teams going against each other.
I will admit though,
even
even though
pick the right one to win. That's all I'm hoping.
Oh, I will.
don't write it though, because
I'm not going to write it because you're going to make fun of me. I'm just kidding. No, you know what? I have Duke going in, and I've said this whole time, I do like Gonzaga. I think they're a very talented team. They haven't faced a team like Duke. Duke, like we've talked about, teams getting hot at the right time. I think they are hot at the right time. Gonzaga has actually lost a few more games ever since they were, undefeated. Went 23-0 before they lost.
Yeah.
I like Gonzaga. I just don't think they're faced a team like Duke. I think Duke is better. Like I say, Jason Tatum, when Kennard gets hot, it's tough to stop. If Grayson Allen can keep his emotions in check, he's tough to stop. I actually like the kid Henry Giles. They're finally using him how he should be used, and you can see this team is actually is playing really well. That's honestly why I picked Duke. And Duke versus North Carolina. I think this is going to be one of the best. If this happens, this is going to be the best championship game we've ever seen because, like you said, you have the rivals going against each other. Which this is one of the few years, and I know almost every year you could say a Duke and North Carolina team could happen, but it's been a rarity where they've been on separate regions where they literally could meet in the championship game. And Duke against North Carolina, that would be so awesome.
Yeah.
I would love that so much. Just kind of judging off of how you saw it, yes, North Carolina, I think they were missing one piece in the ACC tournament when they did play against Duke. Jason Tatum, when he got hot. The one thing that I've seen that you can beat North Carolina is your threes. And what did Duke do?
Shot threes.
They shoot their threes.
So if they can stop them there, I think that North Carolina honestly will stop them.
And I'm going to write it in. It's Duke. Duke is winning, man. I wasn't going to do it. I told myself.
Here's the thing, though, about Duke, and you and I had this talk too. Even if this, because honestly, as a fan, this would be great, but logically speaking, according to my bracket, it won't happen because it won't beat Nova. But if Duke does get into the championship game with North Carolina, and the way to beat North Carolina is through the threes, but most of the games that Duke has lost that were close, especially in their own division, their own conference, ACC, they lost by shooting too many threes and having a terrible percentage, being out-rebound and not being able to close games. And North Carolina, when you can't shoot the threes and all they have to do is guard the perimeter, that's it. And that's unfortunately what's also Duke's Achilles heel is if they fall into that three-point too much and start jacking them up and don't fall, they don't have any offense after that. No matter if it's Grayson Allen, Kennard, or Tatum. Once the threes don't fall, then they don't have a good offense. Their offense just sputters.
Yeah, you're right. Duke, they do live by the three a lot this year. But what I've noticed in the ACC tournament is when they needed threes, they hit their threes. It's specifically the Notre Dame game that we watched, and I didn't text you this, and I probably should have to kind of prove my point more. But when we were texting back and forth watching the game, when we were talking about it. What I saw was a lot of the times you think, oh, Duke is going to shoot this three. They're going to shoot this three. They're going to shoot this three. And they never did. What they did is they went inside to Tatum. They went inside to Giles. Grayson Allen would start passing it inside, getting it inside. Kennard would drive to the lane and get someone open. What I noticed is they don't always have to live by the three. Yeah. When they know that they have to go inside and make an easy layup or a shorter two, whatever it may be, they can do it, and they have the talent. And Jason Tatum has finally hit his stride, and that's why I really like Duke. And then when you have to shoot threes, you have Kennard, like we talked about. What we saw when he gets hot, he gets hot.
Yeah.
And Grayson Allen, he's the same way. Just he trips people, and it's unfortunate. He should probably start tripping when he shoots a three, and then he should fall down.
You mean do the Draymond thing where he flips that leg after he shoots a jumper?
Probably help him out a little bit more. No, but in all seriousness, North Carolina, I like their bigs. So I think if Duke can hit their threes, they can definitely win, and it's a rivalry game.
Yeah,
that's always a rivalry game. I could pick North Carolina, and it'd make a total a bunch of sense, and I could pick Duke, and it makes a ton of sense. Yeah. You could pick any of those four teams that we have in our Final Fours, and you can make great cases for them.
Right.
I feel like with the hottest team and the easiest way to get to at least the Elite Eight, Duke has a really easy lineup. You think they could either go against Marquette, South Carolina, New Mexico State, Baylor, USC, Providence, SMU, or that's their way until they have to see Nova. I like Duke. I think they're going to be going through this pretty easily until they get to Nova, and then they actually have to start playing. And I think that actually might help them out a ton. That's why I'm Duke.
Okay. I got a quick question though for you two. So we got our winners, our Final Four. What's the scores?
Ooh, see, I always I was like the backside of my head, and I totally forgot. But I always suck at picking this final score, so I'll let Andrew take it first.
Oh yeah, nice.
Let the host do it.
All right, I'm gonna have Duke winning by 3. I think it's going to be a fairly high scoring game because there's too many good shooters on both teams. Even if you can play defense, but Duke, honestly, that's one of their Achilles heels is their defense. I'd say Duke wins 92-89. I think it's going to be a really close game. When you talk about a rivalry game, it's not going to be a blowout. There's just I don't
too much emotion, and teams are both good. It's not like Duke's a washed-up team or anything like that. They're just they live and die by the 3. Just to answer your winner, they live and die by the 3, and they're not very tall. UNC is, and so if you get them inside and beat them up, then that could just soften up Duke to where they don't want to maybe get the threes off. They don't want to go to the hole when they need to. So, anyways, but for me, again, my picks are Nova and North Carolina, with Nova beating North Carolina. I've got the score of 84 Nova and UNC 79 winning by 5. It's a repeat.
All right. And our guest of honor picks.
Okay, so I have I keep doing that. I don't know why. Okay,
it's because
I'm just gonna say North Carolina. That's
because I was up in USC, baby.
So I have North Carolina winning against Villanova, 88-86.
Nice.
Excellent.
Just by 2.
Yeah,
hey, at least it'll be a good game. That's all I care about.
All right. Just want to remind everyone, please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We're on all of them. It's Drew Code Sports Talk, and it'll be at the bottom. Yeah, see, Brad knows. Brad, we thank you for joining us. We appreciate you doing this.
I'm glad to beat out Shaq. You had him lined up and he couldn't come.
Yeah, it was a travel thing and hotel accommodations. We just couldn't swing it in the budget. But hey, we're glad you showed up.
Yeah, couldn't swing it in the budget. We paid Brad in beer. that's our budget. But again, we appreciate you guys watching. Please follow us on everything. Brad, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.